Oppenheimer made the atom bomb. Einstein made the theory of relativity. But this random-ass Japanese guy made anime fans believe they could become sports superstars without ever leaving their homes. After a whole century of anime and a dozen or so decades of anime fans not leaving their homes, there still wasn't a super hit sports anime about the biggest sport in the goddamn world. Football. For the sports anime community, there was a hole, a so-called ball to be scratched. I mean, itch to be scratched. And in there came Blue Lock. Even Snoop Dogg started smoking again after that shit came out, because this series was a hit. A mega hit. Blue Lock, Blue Lock, Blue Lock. Give me a blue Glock, so I can end this constant nagging. This is what I imagine what anime fans that disliked football were thinking. And yes, football, not soccer. I'll have a word with you soon, Americans. First, otakus have to hear about sports like football in their everyday lives growing up, and now they have the anime community talking about it too. But the haters of putting foots on balls didn't have to wait very long for the endless praise to stop back in 2024. Why? Well, nothing makes the crowd so silent as an own goal, as the series had some serious problems when season 2 released. You could say it's a shadow of its former self, or rather, a still image of its former self. Luckily for me, I chose to read the manga instead, because it had better animation. Now with my obligatory joke dissing the animation of season 2 out of the way, let me talk about what I actually want to talk about and what is the actual headliner here. Because I think animation aside, both football haters and football lovers can appreciate Blue Lock. Because Blue Lock wasn't just this new shonen football anime. It wasn't Slam Dunk or Haikyuu reskinned. It was Kuroko no Basuke reskinned. But Andrew Tate wrote it. And freaking Junji Ito drew it, god damn! For me, Blue Lock is the new Baki. Or rather, the correct term here could be that it is its spiritual successor. And I am inclined to believe that after this video, you will agree with me. So, you ask, how is a show about kicking balls anything like a show about kicking ass? First off, I'm happy that you, the viewer, actually acknowledge that you actually kick the ball with your feet the majority of the game. And not some bizarre American sport where you rather throw it with your hands. Like, come on, America, what are you gonna do next? Call this a feet gun? Now that we have established that you acknowledge this, I can acknowledge that I haven't even begun to answer the question at hand. When I think of the essence of Baki, I think of bizarre, over-the-top things in normal life that gets real extreme in this series. It could be what you eat, what you drink, how a Chinese man mixes the water with the skin of his finger. And it is really funny. But also, sometimes, in the middle of this laughfester, it is also really hype. And somehow, really epic. And that, my friends, is what Blue Lock does. And for me, this is the perfect excuse to tell you about really funny moments from Blue Lock. Not only can I tell you this because I have read ahead in the manga, but also because I'm a rare breed who also played football for a long time, followed football for a long time, and even made my own FIFA montages back in the day. And there are a lot of funny moments in Blue Lock that can go unnoticed if you're not into football. So let's start off with the first moment where I audibly laughed from Blue Lock. In typical shonen fashion, our main character Isagi is in the beginning of the series really outclassed by the rest of the players in pure natural talent. He doesn't have the incredible distance shots, the speed or the dribbling, but rather defeats people by using his brain. He gets stronger as a player by having these grand realizations that makes him more effective or lethal on the pitch. One of these realizations is
of the body movement,
where he realizes that football is not only played when you have the ball, but also when you're not having the ball. To be fair, this is one of the most important and overlooked aspects of the game, especially as you get to higher levels of football. It's really important how you position yourself and make runs, but what makes it really funny is when they portray it as a superpower. Off the ball movement plus direct shot equals goal. What is everybody else doing when they're off the ball? Sit down, have a coffee and a hot dog? You see, this is an exclusive superpower for good footballers. Everybody else turns into a FIFA NPC holding the A button while hoping for the best. Also, speaking of superpowers, that leads us perfectly into the next funny thing. In modern football, dribbling has died down, as football has become more solved, and players are rather encouraged to play more effective and taking less chances. The showboaty, entertainer kind of player, like Ronaldinho, has kind of died down. But Blue Lock has showed me a solution. The thing today's wingers are missing are super special skill moves.
Super special skill moves.
In pro football, really hard skill moves are mainly used for showboating or taking the enemy by surprise. But in Blue Lock, it's the equivalent of Naruto using the Rasengan. Like, how the hell are you gonna defend against a Elastico or a Rabona? The skill moves just can't be stopped. A great example is when the character Baru gets stuck, when he suddenly unlocks the special skill move Ronaldo Shot, where he does the same skill like 5 times and scores. Apparently this move is unstoppable, as the defender definitely should have seen it coming after he did it like the 4th time. I also think it's funny how it works with nutmegs, the ultimate way to humiliate someone in real life. It's done by completely fooling your opponent and choosing option C, rather than A or B, by putting the ball between their legs. In Blue Lock, that in itself is a super skill that dribblers unlock and can just do on command, as it apparently can't be stopped when they do things like triple nutmegs. Like, brother, you know he's gonna do it again? Close your legs, you're not facing Giannis in. Moving on. Now I know that obviously the series has to change names to avoid copyright strikes from the actual teams.
I'm gonna copy strike this guy.
But it really took me by surprise when their main character wanted to play for Bastard München. I mean, like, that doesn't sound very pleasant. Like, do you really want to be one of them? Bastards! Are they saying they act like bastards because I don't want that? Or do they rather get medieval on your ass and mean that they are concubine offsprings? Either way, not really sure why he wants to play there. Also, speaking of, just some weeks ago I flew to Germany to watch Borussia Dortmund play a home game. Hearing their singing fans and their famous yellow wall was an incredible experience I will never forget. However, if this was Blue Lock, I would go nowhere near that stadium. Who knows what terrible things Berserk Dortmund would do to me. Maybe summon Griffith or something. I just love how the names really sound like the club, yet makes no sense and sound so anime and so aggressive. Like, let me just take this Uber to Manshine City. Can't wait for the manga to put Arsenal in the series and call the club Weaponry instead. I mean, PXE is cool though. Sounds like the X-Men started making football players or something. Speaking of funny names, that leads us perfectly onto the last funny subject. Yes, it's a thing. Mr. FIFA president actually exists. And yes, he looks like this. You see, FIFA, Federación Internacional de Fútbol Asociación, has this kind of meme reputation of being a bunch of money grubbers. But Blue Lock goes all out with it. The aura this man oozes. It's like Jeff Bezos and the Kingpin had a child, because this man's is straight out of a Bond movie. First time we see him, this guy comes up with a sales pitch to have Blue Lock make their own TV channel. His response is,
If it makes me money.
don't think that's villainy enough for you? What about releasing aggressive criminals out of jail because they might be talented footballers? Well, actually, let's get into that. But first, I have to tell you that this is in the territory of minors. I mean minor spoilers. So this is where you can skip to if you don't wanna see it. So there's this villain or rival that gets introduced in the series later, Kaiser. He's the new villain of the second arc. And not too long ago we finally saw his backstory, and that was some of the most brutal, dark and twisted backstories I have ever seen. Abused by his alcoholic dad, where his football were his only friend. There was something deep and beautiful to it. Kaiser was stealing from others to save up for a better life, until one day he gets caught, and the police comes to arrest him. In anger of the shocking reveal, his father tries to hurt not him, but his football. First, he kicks his father. Then, when the police start shooting him for some reason, he backflips away from the bullets and defeats them by shooting footballs. Somehow, they still manage to get him into jail for a little bit until some Black Alley FIFA agents comes and recruits him. Now, there are more funny Blue Lock moments. For example, the cold one-liners they say to each other, like "Calm down, Mr. Two-Pump Chump." However, this is what you're gonna get for this video, so you better subscribe if you want more. But hey, first remember, Blue Lock is not only funny, but also epic. I think I might have just gotten a cold, considering how cold that edit was. Man, I gotta stop giggling, you guys are gonna think I'm sus or something. Anywho's, a few closing words. In making this video, a few steps were taken. Acquiring a new computer, acquiring a new editing software, and learning the new editing program. Personally, I think it went great, but if you by chance have seen any other video of mine, I would love to hear your opinion. Let me know what you think, and expect a video in the coming month. The more support I get, the more I will refine my own video making methods and release more and more. In other words, bend the meta, feel better, videos in supply, goodbye.